let me jump around and show you. Well, I'll go ahead and for those of you interested in just the summary, before I show the details here, yeah, it unfortunately does not fix the problem. There's probably nothing that an AI mod is going to be able to do to fix the problem that CA has introduced. Hey guys, Michael here. I hope that you're all doing great today. I'm making this video as sort of a follow-up to a video that I saw from Legend of Total War late last night. He basically talks about the passive AI problem with the Lizardmen and the Tomb Kings following the most recent patch from CA. And it does look indeed like he's completely correct, of course. I always would presume that he would be to report something like that. But anyway, I've done a little bit of checking on my own, and yeah, it does indeed look like it's a problem. But it did get me to thinking a little bit, since we generally use the some type of an AI mod to change the AI behavior. What about using the new version of Heclius? Is that going to fix the problem that he points out with the Lizardmen and the Tomb Kings? For those of you who are unfamiliar with it, as he points out in this video, which I'm only going to show a tiny little bit of here, and I will, of course, link his video in the description of this one, so check it out if you're interested in any more detail than this. But the summary version of it is basically that, yeah, unfortunately, the major Lizardmen and Tomb Kings faction leaders get super passive very early in the campaign. They really don't expand at all, whereas the minor factions for the Lizardmen and the Tomb Kings, along with everybody else, they continue to behave as normal. So clearly, when CA released this latest patch, they did something to break the AI for those two factions, just the playable legendary lords in those two factions, but not the minor factions, or not the minor lords.
Just some background on this particular campaign here. I'm playing on normal difficulty. The reason for that is because I wanted to get the experience that most players have in Total War Warhammer 3. Most people play on normal difficulty. So played Itza, normal difficulty, and I just wanted to monitor what Tehenna and Oxiotl was up to. And yes, you are right, they did nothing. The minor factions did. So these guys, they're out doing stuff. You know, this faction here lost that settlement and then retook it. But Oxiotl has been sitting here doing nothing. The minor faction of Zinch has come over here and attacked them and been wiped out, and they didn't even try to come over this way. That's their starting army. Tehenna's starting army just sitting around here doing nothing. Several turns doing nothing. Like, turn 23 is not particularly late in the campaign, but every other faction is doing something. Everything else. So the Awakened came down over here. They're active. What's it called? The Blooded Wanderers, they're active. You can see that the Hunter Martial Expedition is active. These guys are active. Everyone except for the Lizardmen are active.
So anyway, so that's the basic gist of it. So like I said, I wanted to test it out using Heclius AI to see if our AI mods will affect or at least that one in particular, will affect the default behavior, which is such a problem right now that we're seeing. And so what I've done here is I've set up a Bellicor campaign. I'm doing this on normal, and I picked Bellicor because I can basically just start out on Albion and basically unify Albion and then kind of just sit back and not do anything at all to affect what's going on anywhere else in the world, since Bellicor starts out in kind of a very remote location where he can get away with doing that. So that's what I've set up here. Normal. I'm not having trade agreements. I'm not having peace treaties or non-aggression pacts or doing anything at all to affect any of the rest of the world outside of our own tiny little island here. And so that way we can just kind of see as a baseline, how do things play out in the rest of the world. And so here we are in turn 10. I think we can already get a pretty good sense of what's going to happen here. So let me jump around and show you. Well, I'll go ahead and for those of you interested in just the summary, before I show the details here, yeah, it unfortunately does not fix the problem. There's probably nothing that an AI mod is going to be able to do to fix the problem that CA has introduced. So That's the short version. The longer version is we're on turn 10. As you can see, all I've got here is Albion. I've turned off the Fog of War. And let's go ahead and jump over here and take a look at a couple of the major Lizardmen factions. So we've got right here, we've got Mazda Mundi, and he's sitting in his capital with a size 8 army. He has taken Fallen Gates, which is the first settlement that you would expect Mazda Mundi to take, but that's all he has done. He hasn't taken anything else. He's not actively, at least aggressively, going against this minor Norskin faction that he starts out at war against. So he appears to be quite passive, just like as Legend pointed out in vanilla is happening in. As Legend pointed out in vanilla, it's happening as well. So let's come on down here and take a look then at one of the examples that he showed, which is, of course, Gorok, very near and dear to our hearts right now because I've got a Gorok campaign going on this channel. So yeah, same thing. Gorok sitting here in Itza with the size 8 army. He's got Jodel, and that's all he has done. He has not bothered to come down here to take Quetzal. So yeah, not great. Same thing down here for Tehinoan. He's sitting in Kayaks here. He's got the second settlement right here, but again, not doing. He at least has a 13 stack, so yay. But yeah, unfortunately, not really actively at war with Skrulk or anybody else down here for that matter. Normally, he would be fighting. I think he would be fighting against the. Not against the High Elves, probably. He would be fighting these guys, right? Normally, doesn't he get involved in a war with the Tomb Kings over here? So not looking great. Now, let's just compare that to what some of the other actually, let me also go ahead and show the Tomb Kings over here. If we take a look at Kimri, at Settra here. So Settra, size 8 army, sitting in Kimri. He does have Numas and nothing else, and doesn't look like he's actively doing anything anywhere. Compare that to like Manfred. Manfred is clearly got now 3 armies and is actively at war over here with Volkmar, and as you can see, Manfred has at least filled out has 3 settlements at this point. So not only 3 armies, but 3 settlements as well. So even on turn 10, he's already expanded. Let's take a look at Skarbrand since he's close by. Skarbrand is usually a pretty aggressive legendary lord. He's obviously got Death Gorge here, and down here he's got Agrul Migdal, but he's also now over here launching an attack. He's got an 18 stack. He's continuing to attack up here. He also has a second army up here. So yeah, we can see that Skarbrand is being typically aggressive. I took a look here earlier at Thorek, and Thorek, if I can find him, here we go. Here's his capital right here, Karak Zorn. As you can see, he has taken his entire starting province and is all the way up here, in fact, at Karagorod. So Thorax are all the way up to 4 settlements. Again, clearly show, and he's up here with a size 20 stack. So pretty aggressive as we're seeing from Thorek. I think, we could keep going around the world, but we're going to see more and more of the same thing. So it does look like, unfortunately, Hecleus AI is not going to do anything to address the problem that CA has introduced. And I'm going to just make the assumption, but please correct me if I am wrong, that the other AI mods are probably not going to do it either. I went with Hecleus because it's the newest, and it's also, generally speaking, the most aggressive of any of the AI mods. But there is certainly a possibility that maybe one of the others does something a little bit better, handles the situation a little bit better than Hecleus does. But anyway, that's really all I had in this video. I was curious myself. I thought that maybe some of you would be curious as well. And it does unfortunately indicate, once again, there are certain problems in the game that modders unfortunately are not going to be able to fix. I shouldn't say they won't be able to fix it. There might be a way to address this. Unfortunately, it would probably be something that would be at best a temporary bandage, using scripting or something to force these particular legendary lords to behave differently than they normally would. That's clearly not a very good fix. You would like to see something that happens a lot more organically than, than just scripting particular legendary lords to behave in particular ways. So, however, I'm not a modder of this game, so I'm not going to make any judgment calls there. Maybe somebody smarter than I am can figure something out. But yeah, that's the long and the short of this one. Is basically, I would suggest, just living with this particular problem. If you're playing campaigns right now, play one of the Lizardmen or Tomb Kings yourself, and obviously you're not going to have the same limitation, but be aware that the rest of your race is. And yeah, we're just going to have to kind of live with this one until CA gets around to fixing it. It is, as Legend pointed out in his video, fairly problematic that they appear to be waiting until 7.0 to fix it, because that's not acceptable as far as I'm concerned. This is a pretty significant problem, and we don't have any idea when 7.0 is going to come out, but we already know it's taking a heck of a lot longer than we were hoping for to begin with. So it's just another example of, I really wish CA would stop putting I shouldn't say all the resources, putting most of their resources into new DLCs, new legendary lords, new units, whatever. All those things are great. I would love to get those, but not at the cost of not fixing very basic fundamental problems that are somewhat diminishing the experience of what really ought to be a masterpiece of a game if those problems did not exist. So, all right, anyway, enough editorializing, Michael. Please, I welcome any comments, any feedback that you guys have in the comments section below. I'll go ahead and leave it at that. Thanks again, everybody, so much for watching and listening, and I will see you all in the next video.